Paris, 1925. A group of wealthy scrap metal dealers received confidential invitations to one of the city's most luxurious hotels. The letters carry the seal of the French government. Inside, they hear something almost impossible. The Eiffel Tower, France's most famous landmark, is about to be dismantled. The government wants to sell thousands of tons of iron, but only to someone who can keep the deal secret. One businessman believes he's about to secure the contract of a lifetime. Instead, he is walking into one of the greatest confidence tricks ever recorded. But here's the part that defies belief. The con artist escaped, then came back and tried to sell the Eiffel Tower a second time. How could anyone fall for a scheme that outrageous? The answer has almost nothing to do with the tower, and everything to do with human nature. Today, the Eiffel Tower defines Paris. More than 7 million people visit it each year. It appears in movies, postcards, and countless photographs. But in the late 19th century, many Parisians wanted it gone. When Gustave Eiffel unveiled the Iron Giant for the 1889 World's Fair, critics mocked it relentlessly. Some artists called it a scar on the city's skyline. Prominent writers signed petitions demanding its removal, and they had a reason to hope. The tower had never been intended to last forever. Its permit allowed it to stand for only 20 years. After that, demolition was a real possibility. What saved it wasn't beauty, it was usefulness. Its extraordinary height made it valuable for scientific experiments, wireless telegraphy, and eventually military communications. The temporary monument became strategically important. The demolition plans quietly disappeared. But one dangerous idea survived. People remembered that the Eiffel Tower had once been considered disposable. Most dismissed that forgotten detail. One man saw an opportunity worth a fortune. His name was Victor Lustig. Victor Lustig wasn't a master thief. He was something far more dangerous. He made people surrender their money willingly. Born in what is now the Czech Republic around 1890, Lustig possessed no extraordinary wealth or political influence. His real weapon was persuasion. He spoke several languages. He dressed with effortless elegance. He carried himself like a diplomat. People trusted him before he ever opened his mouth. Over the years, he refined his craft across Europe and America. He posed as businessmen, aristocrats, and officials. He sold fake money printing machines. He tricked investors, gamblers, and wealthy entrepreneurs. Every scam followed the same formula. Create urgency. Offer exclusivity. Make the victim feel chosen. When people believe they've been invited into a secret, they often stop questioning whether the secret is real. Then, in 1925, Lustig noticed a newspaper article discussing the soaring maintenance costs of the Eiffel Tower. Some reports mentioned the financial burden of maintaining the aging structure. To most readers, it was forgettable news. To Lustig, it looked like the opening chapter of the greatest scam of his life. Lustig moved with astonishing precision. He forged official government documents. He rented an elegant suite inside the Hôtel de Crillon, one of Paris's finest hotels. Every detail had to feel authentic. Then he invited 6 leading scrap metal dealers. The choice wasn't random. These businessmen understood steel, demolition, and government contracts. If anyone could believe the tower might be sold for scrap, it was them. When they arrived, Lustig introduced himself as a senior official from the Ministry of Posts and telegraphs. He explained that the government had reached a difficult decision. The Eiffel Tower was too expensive to maintain. Rather than announce the demolition publicly, officials wanted to negotiate in complete secrecy to avoid national outrage. The explanation sounded extraordinary, yet every piece of it felt just believable enough. Lustig even arranged private visits to the Eiffel Tower. The businessmen walked beneath its iron beams, not as tourists, but as potential owners. Some were already calculating profits. Others were imagining headlines. None realized they had entered a performance, because Lustig wasn't selling iron. He was studying his audience, and one man stood out from all the rest. His name was André Poisson. Unlike some of his competitors, Poisson was still trying to establish himself among Paris's leading businessmen. Winning the contract would change everything. Lustig noticed something more valuable than money. Poisson desperately wanted recognition. That ambition became the trap. In a private conversation, Lustig hinted that senior officials often expected discreet personal payments before awarding major government contracts. He never openly demanded a bribe. He didn't have to. Poisson reached the conclusion himself. Believing he was navigating the realities of politics, he paid for the supposed contract. He also handed over a substantial unofficial payment. Within hours, Lustig vanished. Only then did Poisson understand the truth. He hadn't purchased the Eiffel Tower. He had purchased an illusion. Yet he never reported the crime. The embarrassment was too great. Admitting he had secretly tried to buy France's most famous landmark and willingly offered a bribe would have destroyed his reputation. For Lustig, the silence was even more valuable than the money, because silence meant something almost unbelievable. He could do it again. Most criminals disappear after a successful fraud. Victor Lustig returned to Paris. He forged another set of government documents, reserved another luxury hotel, contacted another group of scrap dealers, and began telling the exact same story. It was almost impossible to believe. The Eiffel Tower had already been sold. Yet Lustig trusted psychology more than probability. There would always be someone eager to believe they had discovered an exclusive opportunity. For a moment, it seemed he was right. Several businessmen showed interest. Negotiations began. Then one potential buyer grew suspicious. Instead of signing papers, he contacted the police. The illusion collapsed. Before officers could arrest him, Lustig slipped out of France and disappeared. His second attempt failed. But the astonishing part is that it came close to succeeding. The greatest confidence trick wasn't convincing people the Eiffel Tower was for sale. It was convincing intelligent businessmen that they alone had been chosen to buy it. And this wouldn't be the last time Lustig turned confidence into fortune. The Eiffel Tower was only one chapter in Victor Lustig's extraordinary career. After arriving in the United States, he continued perfecting the art of deception. One of his most famous scams involved a wooden box he claimed could duplicate banknotes. Victims watched genuine bills disappear inside. Hours later, the machine appeared to produce perfect copies. The trick was simple. Lustig had secretly hidden real banknotes inside the device beforehand. By the time the machine stopped working, he was already gone. He even manipulated one of America's most feared gangsters, Al Capone. Rather than steal Capone's investment, Lustig returned every dollar exactly as promised. Capone interpreted the honesty as proof of character and rewarded him with several $1,000s. Even criminals could be deceived if they believed they had found someone trustworthy. Eventually, however, his luck ran out. American authorities spent years tracking a sophisticated counterfeiting operation connected to Lustig. He was arrested in 1935. He briefly escaped from federal custody, but was quickly recaptured. Convicted on counterfeiting charges, he was sent to prison, where he later died in 1947. The man who convinced businessmen they could own the Eiffel Tower would spend the rest of his life behind bars. But his greatest illusion had already become immortal. The Eiffel Tower still rises above Paris. For more than a century, it has survived wars, political upheaval, and changing generations. Millions stand beneath it every year. Few realize it was once almost dismantled. Even fewer know someone actually convinced businessmen they could buy it. Twice. The story sounds impossible because it challenges something we rarely question. We like to believe intelligence protects us from deception. History suggests otherwise. Victor Lustig didn't rely on force. He didn't forge ownership of the Eiffel Tower. He forged authority. He understood that people trust confidence, titles, luxury, and exclusivity long before they examine evidence. A century later, the forged government letters have become convincing emails. Luxury hotel meetings have become polished video calls. Fake contracts have become digital documents. The methods have changed. Human psychology hasn't. Perhaps that's why the greatest trick Victor Lustig ever performed wasn't selling the Eiffel Tower. It was proving that the easiest thing to counterfeit is trust. And once trust is sold, almost anything else can be too.